play the semis and the finals on Saturday after 10 rounds of Swiss. And they're drawing their opening hands.
Right, so and we do see that smiter in the opener for Patrick Shifflett that you were talking about. I don't know if he has the ability to accelerate into it, but... And Ali on the play with a Farseek. In every match, so in the Zombies matchup we talked about it being really important for Ali to have a turn 2 Farseek because he's to be able to keep pace with Zombies. Not as important here, like obviously it's still really good, but what he's probably his biggest concern with this hand is that he has a lack of business spells in it.
And they both keep, and they both go with Temple Garden on turn 1. Ollie's comes into play tapped. Patrick Shifflett, he's got the Avacyn's Pilgrim on turn 1, pays 2 life for the Temple Garden. So if he's got that smiter, as you say, that is going to be tough for Ollie to deal with.
All right, so this is exactly the situation you were talking about. That turn 1 into turn 1 Pilgrim into turn 2 smiter.
Ollie goes with a turn 2 Rootbound Crag into Farseek and shortcuts the passing of the turn, lets Patrick take his turn while he gets a Hallowed Fountain. And there's the Loxodon Smiter on turn 2. A 4/4 on turn 2.
Yeah. So the colors, in case you're wondering what Ali is setting up for, the things he needs to set up for in his main deck, he probably still needs a black for his Abrupt Decays and the flashback on his Lingering Souls. Outside of that, he's taking care of most of the prohibitive mana costs in his deck.
Yeah, Farseeking with this deck is not easy.
No, well, I suppose, yeah, he actually still is 1 land from being able to cast Supreme Verdict, but a white or a blue source will do that for him. So that's not too big of a concern.
And Supreme Verdict, he's got one of them in the main deck, is one of the cards that he could really use right now.
Right, I like how in the main deck he has Garruk Primal Hunter and Curse of Death's Hold. You know, there's... he has to do a lot of preparing with his mana base. And he does seem, kind of what we were saying before as one of the potential hazards, was he's kind of flooding here. So.
But he plays Chromatic Lantern on turn 3 and a Temple Garden tap, so now he has access to any color mana he wants. He could, off of a bunch of lands that don't naturally produce black, play a Curse of Death's Hold here.
Right. That's always one of those curveballs that, you know, your opponent starts out on all banned Nihil lands and then plays a curse that drops on curve a Curse of Death's Hold on you. Shifflett gets some damage in here, you know, the brutally efficient Luxodon Smiter.
Swings in for 4, but doesn't attack with the Avacyn's Pilgrim, so he's got a follow-up play.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be Huntmaster of the Fells.
And there it is. Just like you said, it's a good follow-up, adding 4 more points of power.
Yeah, and this is enough points of power that Patrick probably doesn't need to play any more spells. He's going to really be able to demand an answer from Ali. And another land. Ali does have Thragtusk here to help him make the board manageable, but I think after this Thragtusk, I don't know if Ali has another card, another non-land spell in his hand.
Well, if he plays the Thragtusk out, what's going to happen here? Trade with the Smiter, and then stabilize the board against 2/2s, but Patrick might just pass the turn and turn into Ravager of the Fells. There it is, Thragtusk.
Yeah, Ali back to 21. Thragtusk will do a really good effort of drawing out the game. You know, these Thragtusk battles are really hard just because neither deck's particularly well equipped to deal with a Thragtusk. So that it comes into this sort of standoff where creatures just trade for a while. And that sort of standoff is only good for Ali in the matchup.
Temple Garden tapped for Shifflett as he thinks over his play.
Yeah, Shifflett has a Bonfire of the Damned.
And he goes in with...
Yeah, he has a Bonfire, so he definitely, he's planning to Bonfire. He's willing to trade the Huntmaster and the Bonfire for this Thragtusk if allowed, but that's not going to happen. I think Ali wisely wants to trade here. Oh my, and this is going to be brutal.
Oh.
He's going to... Now, did he exile or did he 2/2 and trample? It appears that he exiled. I think 2/2ing and trampling would have been the correct play.
Let's see what happens with these life totals.
Yeah.
So 4 points from the unblocked.
Thragtusk didn't hit the graveyard. It was, so it's definitely been exiled. It's not, so if you see just the Farseek on the top right corner of the screen.
Okay.
So remember, there actually is that mode, typically only used in limited, of the 2/2 and trample. I think would have pushed a fair amount of extra damage there.
Yeah, that would have been 6/6 against 3, so
Yeah.
plus 3 points of missed damage there.
So Ali Overgrown Tomb into play tapped. He has drawn Gristlebrand. So
he can
that seems
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lands.
Shifflett. I mean, Shifflett has to hope that there's another Celestia charm. Otherwise, that could be not very well equipped. He has nothing in his hand that can deal with a resolved Gristlebrand, which will be coming down next turn thanks to Chromatic Lantern.
And like we said, these crazy curveballs, these 1/0s.
Yeah. Yeah, and that 2 damage is actually very relevant. Shifflett, remember, has a Bonfire of the Damned in his hand.
Right, so Ali did not have a play, meaning that Huntmaster flips, transforms into Ravager of the Fells, deals 2 points to the Beast and to Ali.
Yeah, Ali's at 15.
This is it.
6, yep, just counts just 5. So he's going to Bonfire for 2. That puts Ali to 13, and we'll put Ali, with a full swing, we'll put Ali down to 2. And those 3 points of missed damage look like they're very relevant to this game.
Yes.
So,
But being at 2 life, that's largely going to negate Gristlebrand here,
Yeah,
at least in terms of his ability
he's
to
going
draw
to be a
cards.
glorified blocker.
The lifelink is still going to matter.
See, Curse of Death Sold, and yep. 8th land for Ali. Yeah, and he really has no choice but to slam down the 7/7.
Right, the other card he just drew looked like some kind of black removal
He
spell.
has Curse of Death Sold. Is
Okay,
his draw.
curse. That's not enough, so yeah, he has to slam down Gristlebrand. If he blocks a 4/4 here, he gains 7 life, goes to 9.
And he will take 7.
7. So
yeah,
he would stay at 2.
yeah, but with any 2-point burn spell, and you have to, if you're Ali, you have to not like the speed with which that play was made. And he's gonna Restoration Angel the Ravager of the Fells.
And negate the lifelink.
There we go. And so
That's
Patrick
game
Shifflett
1.
manages to take game 1 over Ali Aintrazi.
So that was an interesting game there. As the 2 players go to their sideboard.
Yep. So as they go to their sideboard, we're going to bring you back into the booth, because for those of you who have done the pleasure of waking up early in the morning to watch the top 4 here, we now have our second trivia question of the top 8.
All right.
So reminder for those of you unfamiliar with the process, this one is for 6 months of free SCG Premium. So how do you get this prize? You have to correctly answer a trivia question and put the hashtag SCG Premium on the tweet. Nothing else is required on it. Correct answer and the hashtag.
Okay, so we were talking about this earlier, and the top 8 of this tournament,
Right.
half of the field, I think at one point it was incorrectly said that it was 5 out of 8, but it was actually 4 out of 8.
Half
Half
the
of
top
the
8,
field.
half of the top 16 on top of that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, a lot of decks. What deck represents half of the top 8 of Star City Games Baltimore Standard Open?
All right.
And tweet your answer to hashtag SCG Premium, and there will be a random selection for 6 months of premium.
And please be specific on the colors as well as the archetype with your answer. All right. So with that said, we're going to put you back into the game. So we have Ali Aintrazi and Patrick Shifflett. Ali is going to be on the play of this game
Again.
Especially because there's a control deck, we should expect some better sideboarding options for him. You know, usually control decks become more favorable in their matchups post-board.
Yeah, he's gonna tighten up his deck. We were talking how he's got a lot of singletons and some 2s, and those are kind of hedge cards where You know, if he draws them against the right matchups, they're good, but if he draws the wrong ones, they're not.
Right.
Gristlebrand, not the greatest right there.
So, yeah, Gristlebrand's, you know, and even so, Gristlebrand may be a card that he wants to keep, and he needs to keep some finishers. It may become, actually, he has a one of door to nothingness in the sideboard. Because Patrick is still winning through attacking, I'm not sure Ali goes to that, even though it's a really cool card in his board.
Yeah, what Ollie needs to do here is he needs to bring in more removal spells. He's got 2 extra copies of Tragic Slip, 1 Abrupt Decay.
Yes. So
I could bring in a Centaur Healer, maybe, but against Smiters, they're not that great.
Yeah, Centaur Healer is really more of a card for a Zombies deck or something that's counting to 20, really, which Naya isn't doing. So in that sense, Ali is going to keep a lot of his Game 1 cards in here. He's not going to get as much better as the ramp deck. He's not going to get as much more favorable post board as you would initially expect. Patrick, however, after seeing a Gristlebrand, I have to imagine will board in his Zealous Conscripts. Possibly even his Angel of Serenities. He may want to try to go late with Ali. Remember, these players get to see each other's deck lists for sideboarding here.
What do you think about some Garrus?
I do like Garruk Primal Hunter a lot in the matchup. Garruk Relentless, I could say take or leave. Lingering Souls does a great job of dealing with Garruk, and Ali has plenty of Lingering Souls. But Primal Hunter, I would sign up for that.
Yeah, against a deck that doesn't really put that much pressure on the board, getting down to Garruk Primal Hunter and just spitting out 3/3 beasts would be a decent mid-game plan. And if he needs to, he can just draw up, 4 cards. So we'll see what these players bring in as they finish up their shuffling. A little bit of table talk going on.
It's actually interesting. So while I would have initially said that Ali was the favorite in the matchup, the more I think about their sideboarding, I kind of like Patrick Shifflett to be able to be able to. This matchup needs to get a lot better for him post board.
Well, and he needs to make good mulliganing decisions. He didn't need to mulligan in game 1. He had the hand he needed. Turn 1 Abacus Program, turn 2 Smiter, turn 3 Huntmaster even. So that was kind of the perfect hand for him.
Yeah, I mean, it had really efficient threats. It had the timely Celestia Charm to really deal with Thragtusk. Ollie's hand was a little land heavy. It did have a turn 6 Gristlebrand in it with, a turn 5 Thragtusk, turn 6 Thragtusk into Gristlebrand, which isn't bad for the deck. So Ollie had game there, but Patrick's deck was just able to be efficient enough to really ignore what Ollie was doing.
Yeah, Ollie, what could he really use there? Maybe like a Lingering Soul somewhere in the middle, just to be like a pseudo fog.
Yeah,
some chump blockers, or a removal spell. Like any one of his removal spells that deals with that Smiter.
Yeah,
would have set back
an Abrupt
Patrick.
Decay would have been ideal for Ollie in that opener. He has to assume with 4 Restorations, 4 Thragtusks, 4 Thundermods, 4 Smiters, that, basically there's this window between turns 2 and 4 where Patrick's just going to start, laying down really efficient threats. And Ollie will probably want to keep a hand that, as long as he can answer the first, could hopefully answer the first and maybe even the second of those.
Ollie, Aintrazi, Patrick Shifflett, semifinals here of the Baltimore Standard Open. And do we know what's going on in the other?
We do not know yet about the other match, no.
If we can get an update on that, that would be fantastic. The other side of the bracket features Danny Goldstein playing Black-Red Zombies versus Clark Williamson with Jun Midrange. And
Danny Goldstein hadn't shown up when we last checked. He'd received a game loss round 1. I didn't see anyone running into the hall, so this may be our only top 4 match. And Ollie has opted to side in the Rock's Faith Menders in his deck. That's something he's been doing all day against the Zombies decks. Interestingly enough, he's going to go for it against Naya as well. So Ollie's starting on an untapped Overgrown Tomb.
whoa.
He has a tragic slip in his hand, and what this tells us, he thinks it's very important to tragic slip any possible Avacyn's Pilgrim, which it looks like he's going to be rewarded for that play. Yep, and it's just very immediately tragic slips.
Really heads up play by Ali there.
And he draws a Terminus.
Because he knew with his opening hand he wanted to turn 2 Farseek no matter what. So if his opponent has the Avacyn's Pilgrim, he's willing to pay that 2 life to kill that and keep his curve going.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think he sees that as a pretty big threat, especially with the kind of hand he has. You know, a turn 3 Smiter, for example, something this hand can deal with very well. A turn 2 Smiter is something he could very possibly lose the game to.
And Patrick's turn 2 play is Farseek, so Ali's tragic slip is really paying off here in the sense that there's no pressure on the board yet.
Yeah, both players just developing their mana bases. That's a game plan that favors Ali. Especially because both players bring a full set of Huntmasters. Ali's going to be able to get his Huntmaster down first next turn, which for those of you who played enough with Huntmaster, the first Huntmaster is always able to kill the second Huntmaster on the board.
Right, if there's 2 Huntmasters on the board, all you have to do is say go.
And yeah, and you're the favorite there. Granted, Patrick Shifflett, I believe, has a Celestia Charm in his hand, so if that happens, he may be able to get the better of Ali in that situation.
So Patrick Shifflett has Farseeked for Temple Garden. Ali Aintrazi gets Hallowed Fountain.
Yep, he is slowly building up toward Terminus mana. He does not have the second white yet. That land you see in the middle is a Kessig Wolfron.
Steam Vents untapped and Huntmaster.
So he stays at 18.
So now Patrick continues to, if he's got a Huntmaster, is he going to play it? He's got his own Kessig Wolfron. Opts to Farseek instead. And searches for a mountain.
Alright, so yeah, this is confirmed that this will be the only top 4 match. Danny Goldstein was a no-show to the other top 4 match. We were unable to get a hold of him, so Clark Williamson and Jund Midrange will be the opponent in the finals for the winner of this match.
Ali Aintrazi untaps. Now he's got Huntmaster the Fell, a 2/2 Wolf token. He's going to attack for 4.
Yeah, and this is a great place for Ali. Suddenly Patrick's going to have to play the defensive deck here, the defensive game, and it's really a place where Patrick doesn't want to be.
And there it is.
Rock's Faithmender down for Ali. So Rock's Faithmender, a 1/5 that doubles life gain. So we saw the backbreaking, against zombies, the completely backbreaking Rock's Faithmender into Thragtusk play. This one is a little more manageable. Patrick Shifflett, if he gets control, unlike zombies, Patrick can actually get control of the board. And when he gets control of the board, life totals will be largely irrelevant. He won't be able to, Patrick, because he doesn't have the late game Ali does, won't be able to, if he gains control of the board, he won't be able to hold on to it indefinitely. Mm-hmm. But, if he can get control of the board for 3 or 4 turns, he can probably knock down Ali from a very high life total. It's unlike a zombies matchup where, once Ali went to 28, the game's over.
Yeah.
So, not as good of a card, but Ali still says good enough for this matchup. I think probably just because of the fact, it's a great smiter blocker.
So we saw Patrick Shifflett hard cast a Bonfire for 2, taking care of Huntmaster the Fells and the Wolf token. Ali attacked with his Faithmender, dealing 1 point of damage, but gaining 2 life from the lifelink and life gain doubling.
Yeah, and then 2, so now Ali would be up to 24, I believe, because he gains 4 life off the Huntmaster.
I think he should be at 22. Yeah, there 22.
We go. Okay.
So he was at 16, gained 2 off of the Faithmender attack, gains 4 life off of the Huntmaster trigger.
So now we get this fun part of outright standard, well, fun by some measures, where the life totals start going the wrong way.
Yeah, Patrick Shifflett gains some life of his own with Thragtusk. He goes to 20.
It's actually not that bad of a situation because both players have a Kessig Wolf run, will really encourage trading. Ali's going to pass the turn, shock Thrag Tusk. Ali has the Sphinx's Revelation in his hand. And that it's cards like that which help Ali actually go over the top in the late game. Revelation, remember, Revelation will be double the life gain when Ali chooses to play it. The fact that if Patrick swings, Ali can do brutal plays like Kessig Wolf running the Faith Mender and hitting, that would currently gain 8 if that gets through. So Patrick actually can't attack.
Another Thrag Tusk.
And life totals, both going going the wrong way.
Patrick Shifflett now at 23. And there's the Sphinx's Revelation for 3.
Drawing 3, gaining 6. So that's I like how the symmetry on the card is kind of broken there. But
yeah, 3 cards, not that much for Sphinx's Revelation, but the 6 life.
That's pretty huge.
And I believe Ali just drew a Thrag Tusk. Gain 10.
More life totals going up.
But the thing is, Patrick's got 10 power on the board, and if he can draw another land and then Miracle Bonfire for 5,
yeah,
that could really turn the game around instantaneously.
There is that thing where Patrick has this trump where, a Miracle Bonfire could always happen. But Ali, now at 38, a Thrag Tusk gets the board. So, both players digging in, both players with the Wolf run, but I have to think, what I like is that Ali at a serious advantage because he's still hitting all his land drops.
Yeah, the Sphinx's Revelation drawing 3 is certainly going to keep the lands coming for a while.
Right.
Patrick does have this Selesnya charm, so he can... It'll give him some defense against the Wolf run.
Yeah. I think the biggest worry is that Ali can do Wolf run really dorky things. Like, for example, he's drawn Lingering Soul. So, Lingering Soul is a 1/1. Okay, you charmed it to Lingering, Wolf run a 1/1. Wolf run. Now, granted, he has a long way to go. Patrick Shifflett gaining life with every creature he plays, and that trend will probably only continue.
Yeah, Patrick played a Huntmaster there, so he goes to 25. Ali reorganizing his board, figuring out what to do.
I think he was debating swinging with Thrag Tusk, but realized that he wanted one back as a blocker.
So he turns a Wolf token sideways.
The reason he wants to swing is I think he just wants to Wolf run this turn, which is going to flip Shifflett's Huntmaster. So at that point, he'd rather just as soon, trade off the Wolf token now so that Patrick doesn't have a good card to target when that Huntmaster flips.
Good point. He's setting aside the 3 lands for Kessig Wolf Run activation, so we can clearly see that X would equal 5 at most.
It's interesting in that if Patrick does not block the Wolf, Ali may choose to only Wolf Run it for 2 and then cast Lingering Souls, so that Patrick has to skip his own turn if he wants the Huntmaster to flip. Despite both life totals being so high, there's still, I guess, somewhat of a sense of tempo in this game.
So it looks like there was no block and no Wolf running there, so instead we are going to see the Lingering Souls. Yes.
Now he's going to go both halves of Lingering Souls, which to me is surprising, because that will give Patrick Shifflett the opportunity to just say go and actually get Ali's Huntmaster. Because Ali's Ravager is going to flip back into Huntmaster. Passing turn, yep, Ali flips back. So Ali goes up to 42 with the double, remember, the double life gain.
But he's also getting another Wolf here.
Yeah. So there's a couple of cards. The biggest thing Ali has to watch out for right now is that he is making a top decked Bonfire of the Damned is just getting better and better.
Yeah.
That on top, Patrick also has Thundermaw Hellkite in his deck, so there are a fair number of draws that do some significant damage. Interestingly enough, Patrick chooses not to pass the turn with Huntmaster in play.
Plays another Huntmaster.
Right.
This board is getting very complicated.
Patrick at 25 again. Yeah, recall had Patrick passed the turn, he would get a chance to zap Ollie's Huntmaster. Yeah, the board, I mean, this is a board is getting impossible to swing into. Ollie has the easy play of, Wolf running a flyer, which is the biggest threat on this board right now, is the lingering
Yeah,
soul
he
stone.
can just attack for 4, pump a bunch, pass.
Cavern down, likely named Demon. I think the only thing in Ollie's deck that he can't cast at this point is Gristlebrand. So we'll confirm that. Named Angel. It's possible he does not have, his Angel card is Gisela. I don't know if he actually has white, red in play yet. So if he doesn't, he does have white, red. I'm not positive why that would be on Angel.
Well, does he also have black, triple black?
It's quad black for Gristlebrand.
Quad black?
I don't believe he has quad black. He has double black. He maybe sided out Gristlebrand.
Yeah, he probably did.
It doesn't really matter. This is his, this is his 9th land in play, and 7 of them are duels. It's very likely he's going to get to cast his spells.
Send in the tokens, says Ollie. All 4 spirits and both of his wolves.
Yeah, this is an interesting play because Patrick is going, if he wants to, if he's willing to block with both Thragtusks and trade Thragtusk with a wolf, he will get to eat the other wolf.
I don't believe there were any blocks there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
8 plus
10.
6, that's 14 points life swing.
Ooh.
Patrick drops to a somewhat tenuous 11.
And go a bunch of Huntmaster triggers. So Patrick's both go on the stack first. Ollie flips first, kills one of the Huntmasters. Patrick's Huntmaster will flip.
And this is why I was very surprised that Patrick decided to make a second Huntmaster last turn instead of passing.
Yeah, it didn't really gain him much there other than the life and the wolf.
The double flip transform interaction, while a little complicated, what you have to remember about it is basically if 2 players have an unflipped Huntmaster, the guy who says go wins. And if that's a bonfire, and it is
not.
It's a Thundermaw Hellkite.
It's a Hellkite, so it's going to clear the skies.
Yeah.
Zap your tokens.
Right now, but remember, from casting Wolf Run, Patrick's not going to be able to block well enough to deal with, Ollie can
trample over a lot of damage.
Over whichever creature a wolf decides to block, or Ollie to Alpha Strike. Ollie will be able to have a 7-power trampler. So Ollie will be able to do an unanswered 7 damage here, no matter what. If he draws another land, which he did, he can almost
another cavern. Now
swing the team.
Now will you name Demon?
Actually, swinging the team here is lethal.
Yeah, Patrick can't have enough blockers here.
Well, he would, except for the fact that Ravager of the Fells has Trample. The second cavern was on Demon. It's interesting, if Ravager didn't have Trample...
Oh, the natural trample.
Yeah, if Ravager didn't have Trample, I believe Allie would be 1 point short here. But the fact that Ravager is going to trample over and give that last point is the most relevant thing here. Or it could, because what that means is that the Ravager had to go in front of the Ravager instead of Ravager going in front of Thragtusk. So, he's pumping Faithmender. I think this is just lethal.
Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7?
7 on Faithmender. That's going to trample over for 5. Yeah. If he went
on the
8, it's trample. Yeah, he wolf run it for 1, 2, 3, 4 for 7. So I'm a little surprised. Had he wolf run the Thragtusk for 7, he would have exact lethal, which was. So, yeah. So there's a little bit of a confusing play there.
Well, I mean, he did also gain extra life.
Yeah, but I'm surprised he didn't go for the kill. I'm surprised he didn't go for Thragtusk.
8, 16, 51. Yeah, 51 to 4. Yes, I mean, obviously that was a missed chance to kill, but...
I mean, sure, I still like Ollie's situation on the board, but actually it's, I mean, 1 Celestia Charm, and Ollie doesn't have a way to win right now.
Yeah, Patrick's been holding that Celestia Charm for quite some time.
Yeah, and so, I mean, granted, Patrick has a large task ahead of him, which is kill Ollie from 51. Ollie will take 11, but that's only... right now looks with Wolf Run to be a 3-turn clock. Surprisingly, Ollie has Patrick on a 3-turn clock from 51.
So Patrick's got the Avacyn's Pilgrim held back in his lands pile.
Yeah, I don't know if he remembers that it's there.
Well, he has to.
Yeah, I suppose I wouldn't have attacked last turn. That's
Because
better.
otherwise at 4 life, you just Wolf Run +1. And it can't be charmed. So he's going to block here, force Ollie to pump with the Wolf Run, and then Celestia charm it.
And you know, if Ollie's draws aren't favorable to him, Ollie's going to lose this game, and I think he's going to have to go back to just
Well, he's going to have to reset with Terminus after this sequence here.
Right, Ollie does have the Terminus, so that's good enough. Ollie does not, he's taking down Terminus mana to make this play.
Well, he has to pump for 2 to represent a lethal pump.
Right, remember, well, actually, sorry, Ollie does have another land he can play, so he can still actually Terminus after this.
So Kessig Wolf Run for 2. It's 5 power now, notably enough to get Celestia charmed.
And that will happen. And it appears Patrick has drawn Zealous Conscripts. So
Ollie now has to play his Temple Garden untapped to Terminus this board. Just too much damage represented between the creatures and the Kessig Wolf Run. And they both put their creatures on the bottom in the library. Patrick's got no follow-up play after that Terminus. He's drawn both his Zealous Conscripts now, so he's just waiting for Ollie to play something huge. Ollie has played Caverns, naming both Demon and Angel, so at least seemingly representing that he's got Gristlebrand and Gisela still in his deck.
And Zealous Conscripts, just down as an attacker for Patrick. This may seem strange. I think it's a fairly good play. It gets a creature down. That's something that Patrick can Wolf Run, and that's probably the most important thing. And Patrick wisely choosing a land. And all right, back on. He hits Ollie to 35. If he Wolf Runs every turn, he can swing 7s each turn. So that's a 5-turn clock going on right now. That's fairly unlikely that will hold.
And he has the second Zealous Conscript in his hand, so...
All right. Remember, Ollie just needs to draw a creature. He has not done so right now. So Patrick's going to get more uncontested hits. Another land, so now 8.
So an 8th point of power.
Yep, so that puts Ollie to 27. That doesn't actually increase the clock. It's going to take a fair amount of work to increase the clock. The only way I think Patrick manages to knock 5 turns down to 4 is if on that last pivotal turn, Ollie plays a creature that Patrick can conscripts. And Ollie just flooding, though.
So some of the decisions that Ollie's made here, not necessarily wrong decisions, but he flashed back that Lingering Souls. If he had just kept that in his graveyard, he could have extra attackers.
He would have, yeah. Completely agree.
There was that turn where we think that based on the power on the field, he could have trampled over if he had Kessig Wolf Run Thragtusk.
So Ollie actually is almost, I believe he is out of turns to draw out of this scenario. If he draws a creature here, there's the unfortunate, that's a swing of 10, so Ollie has one more turn. Remember, Patrick's last cards in the Zealous Conscript. I don't think Ollie's getting this.
This is a surprising turn of events.
So Thragtusk puts Ollie to
13.
13 now with a Conscripts and Wolf Run. I believe Patrick has lethal here.
2, 3, 4, 5.
He can Wolf Run for 2 and steal with Conscripts.
I believe that's correct.
So that will, another Zealous Conscripts.
Wow.
That's exactly 13 damage.
And just doing the math, calculating.
Yeah, and Ollie knows it's coming here.
Let's have it.
Swing. All right, it's for 11.
I mean, he's going to wait to see if Patrick activates the Wolf Run. He doesn't. No, he does? What?
And Patrick, I think, missed that he just had a lethal on board.
Wow.
That's very surprising.
I mean,
wow.
Yeah, he went for kind of the cute play to Restoration Angel, the Thragtusk, to keep it on his side.
To permanently steal the rest. And then, yeah, okay. Patrick Shifflett defeats Ali Aintrazi 2-0. I think at the end there, what is it? I always refer to that as, first of all, congratulations to Patrick.